Remember the 5th of November. Remember when we discussed postmodern characteristics of media, we mentioned things like sound bites, narrowcasting, return of yellow journalism, or simply put, sensationalistic journalism, and of course, who can forget the merger of information and entertainment, or infotainment. Now, what is going on following the election of Donald Trump? Well, we may see some positive signs. The signs that point toward the media perhaps becoming less postmodern and becoming more modern. Perhaps people will come closer together. I don't put any money on it just yet. But like I said, there might be some positive signs. Remember, postmodernism resists totalizing discourses. Postmodernism is all about perspectives. It's all about narratives. It doesn't like one grand, presumably, but not really, rational discourse that attempts to subsume all other perspectives. Rather, the outlook of postmodernism is, you're entitled to your opinion, I'm entitled to my opinion, I have my perspective, you have yours, let's agree to disagree. Now, this point of view became not just possible, but actually became our reality because of the growth of technology and narrowcasting, because MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, they just narrowcast to their own specific audiences. Very much like in the age of social media, different people have their own followers, so you have different cliques being formed online, and they all revolve inside their own political views. And as Cass Sunstein points out, once you are in your own little group, you begin to move slowly away from the center in the direction in which you're already located. So if you're already to the right of center, you will move even further to the right of center. And if your group is already to the left of center, you will move further away from the center. The result is that the right-wing groups and left-wing groups will be further apart. And of course, that means polarization. You don't want a lot of polarization in a society because you don't want your society to be torn apart. So what we have been seeing in the last couple of days is that, some YouTubers, some cable networks have been losing subscribers, others have been gaining them. For example, MSNBC lost 10,000 subscribers the day after election. That is to say, November 6th. Fox News gained 100,000 subscribers during election day, November 5th, and gained another 100,000 subscribers on November the 6th. So perhaps what we are seeing is people who try to explain to themselves how come they did not expect this election result, how come they were so convinced that Donald Trump was going to lose pretty big, discovered the night of the 5th of November that he won very big in the Electoral College and also won the popular vote. And so they're checking out the other side. And of course, the movement, as modest as it is, but also it is real, from away from left-wing outlets and toward, places like Fox News, maybe some right-wing YouTubers. The fact that this is happening could be the result of people trying to check out the other side. And it's always good to check out the other side to keep yourself honest, because it's all well and good to have your own perspective and your own point of view. But if it is not tempered with critique from the other side, you become more than just extreme. You become detached from reality. And I think this is what happened to people, I think, on both sides of the political spectrum, but more so on the left. And the challenge for the right will be, in the coming months and years, not to fall into the same trap and not to become exclusively and excessively self-congratulatory and to ignore bad things when they happen on their side. Because if you ignore bad things that happen on your side, like rotten vegetables in your pantry or in your fridge, they begin to stink. And eventually that can no longer be contained. And you become like Anna Kasparian. You go off and you say, I have abandoned my side because it doesn't represent reality. It has parted with reason. So the challenge now will be on the side of the winners, that is to say, people who are politically right of center, because people who are politically left of center have dominated news media for decades, and perhaps they continue to do so. But in recent weeks, and especially in the days following the election, that bubble, the bubble or bubbles on that side of the political spectrum, have been somewhat punctured, and people escaping to the other side of existence, to another domain, another reality of the overall existence. I do not know how long this will last. I do not know the results that it will produce, but it may be a positive sign. Eventually, the system does tend to correct itself over time. Then perhaps it becomes dysfunctional again and corrects itself over time. After the start of Operation Iraqi Freedom in March of 2003, mainstream news did not criticize President Bush because the war was so popular. I mean, it garnered about 75% of support. And it took many months until you saw finally sustained criticism of war. And in these months, maybe even the whole year following the invasion, the criticism would come from entertainers who were more or less politically savvy, like Jon Stewart on Comedy Central and Bill Maher on HBO. And then, of course, as the war started to go really badly, mainstream media caught up. But the damage was already done. What you want to do is to prevent damage in the first place, to prevent misadventures like wars that benefit really no one, except maybe a handful of military contractors. So that's the point. And then you see some of the same people, they get stuck on themselves, and they, ideologically speaking, politically speaking, begin to get high on their own supply. This is evidenced, for example, with Bill Maher on HBO, who, while he can be open-minded, never extended that open-mindedness when it came to Donald Trump, and remained more than consistently critical of him, which is fine. I mean, it's fine to be critical, but also dismissive and acidically, caustically, almost viciously hypercritical, up until really recent months, when the situation in the Middle East and the situation in the country was no longer to his liking. And so, but other than that, he did not attempt to be fair, nuanced, and sophisticated when it came to Donald Trump. And certainly, while he's an entertainer, he's more than capable of being sophisticated, nuanced, and fair when he wants to be. It's just a matter of sometimes he, like other people, also refusing to do that. And this goes for everyone, including, of course, academics, many of whom in the social sciences and the humanities have, over the years, refused to be fair and nuanced, and worse yet, refused to see that way. In other words, in their own little world, they were fair and they were nuanced, even though in actuality, they were closed-minded and dismissive. So the challenge for every person is to be able to put themselves in the position of others, including in the position and the mindset of people they may not necessarily like, and of political points of view that they may want to dismiss, and which they may want to go away, and that they despise. Intellectual open-mindedness and fairness demand that we confront the ideas we think are worthless or terrible, bad, unproductive,